What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
Do you want healthy children? Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Got this lion. He's the king of the jungle. Huge mane out there. He's laying down under a tree in the middle of Africa. He's so big. He's so hot. He doesn't want to move. Now, the little lion comes. They start messing with him. Biting his tail, biting his ears. He doesn't do anything. The lioness, she starts messing with him. Coming over, making trouble. Still, nothing. Now, the other animals, they notice this. And they start to move in. The jackals, hyenas, they're barking at him, laughing at him. They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is.
Good afternoon, everybody. I put that little package together this afternoon because that's how I feel. Right now, as the title of this video was, Are You Ready? And let me put up the thumbnail so I can just talk over it. And I put this thumbnail up earlier of the lion. Yesterday I asked many of you who joined us, what do you think the logo of MAGA should be? And I got a lot of people responding. One of them that was quite popular was Phoenix. And I kind of was waiting to see what people were going to see because I already had that Christopher Walken piece in my mind. Because it's so apt in regards to describing Trump. You see, the jackals, have been nipping at his heels, testing him. The hyenas. We know them as the deep state. And just like Christopher Walken said, every now and then, the lion has to rise up and tear the shit out of everybody to let them know he's the king. And I think what we're about to see over the next 2 days or so is Trump indeed rising up, letting everybody know, I'm tired of your BS. I am absolutely tired of everything you've done to me personally, to my family, to my friends, to this country, saying all that in no particular order. Trump posted this earlier on True Social. Ooh, not that. He posted this. Wait a minute. Okay. Coming up, the most important weekend plus in American history. Enjoy. The most important weekend plus in American history. And I thought to myself as I read that, he doesn't get inaugurated, sworn in till Monday at noon. What's happening this weekend that is the most important weekend in American history? The man chooses his words. The most important weekend plus, whatever plus means, in American history. I don't know if I'm talking to you in the same position you were yesterday. You see, many people who were astute, who happened to be awake, went from playing around on their computer or on their phone and became millionaires many times over. You guys know what I'm talking about? You see, many of you may not know. But yesterday, or rather last night, Trump posted this on True Social, and it caused an immediate, what would be the word, fury, feverish pitch. It says, my new official Trump meme is here. It's time to celebrate everything we stand for. Winning. Join my very special Trump community. Get your Trump now. Go to gettrumpmemes.com. And he posted this at, as you can see, 9 o'clock last night. Did you go get your Trump coin? Did you get your Trump coin at about 9:05, maybe 9:15? Did you pay 18 cents to get your Trump coin? Because if you didn't, you missed out. I mean, you missed out bigly, as Trump would say. Trump launched his own meme coin overnight and swiftly appeared to make more than $25 billion. That's with a B. On paper for himself and his companies. And on the way, he brought a whole lot of people with him. I've seen people who put up $1,000 and now are sitting on 3 and 4 million, depending on when they got in and when they sold. So I'm not really exactly sure what Trump was talking about when he posted this and said the most important weekend in American history. But I've never known a president, not one, who turned ordinary people into multi-millionaires in a couple hours. I'm not going to go further into it because I don't want to make you upset if you didn't get in. But I do want to applaud you. Yeah, I must. I do want to applaud you if you did get in. Now, don't go rubbing it in people's faces if you got in and you, made some bank. Don't rub it in anybody's face, but I salute you. You were watching. See, these were avid Trump supporters. These are people who follow everything he says. watch what he says when he posts it. They've got their alerts all set up, and so they know when the boss put this up, when he showed this to the world yesterday at 9 o'clock. Many of us said, how much? 18 cents? Yeah, I'm good for, give me 1,000 of those. I'll pay it a couple $100. I'll drop 1,000. How about 250, whatever you could afford? I could afford that. Many people. It was 18 cents when it launched. And now, I don't even know what it's up to now. It's absolutely crazy. Let me see if I can just even tell you what it's worth. It's nuts what happened. Let me see. Here's a chart. Let's see. As of right now, 200 million people. It's over 1 billion. Oh, it's just the numbers are astounding. Astounding. I mean, when you look at the chart and the allocations and things of that nature, there's never been a president who drove people, and this is back when it was 18 cents. Bam! Never. No one in history has allowed average, everyday, normal Americans to profit the way they just profited. So if you got involved, salute. If you didn't get involved, you snoozed. For right now, it's probably out of your price range, but those of you who were paying attention, congratulations. To me, that's probably, even though I led with that, is probably the second biggest story of the day. The number one story of the day, which ties into that line about Trump needing to tear the crap out of people, is something you're not going to hear on any of the news stations. You can barely hear it here. I'm going to have to euphemize and use, words, because I can't talk about it because the deepers, the deep staters, are freaking out right now. They are absolutely losing it. Barry, what in the hell are you talking about? What can be that big that people are freaking out? Well, federal prosecutors, it has now been determined, offered the guy who owned the island a sweetheart plea deal for any incriminating information on Trump, even if it wasn't true. That's how desperate. Well, you saw how desperate. You saw July 13th. But this is even further of how desperate these people are and continue to be to want to take this guy out. And this wasn't just some little story somewhere. This was covered by the New York Post. Feds offered the guy who owned the island a deal for incriminating dirt on Trump. His ex-cellmate told him this. Island owner was offered a sweetheart plea deal by federal prosecutors in return for incriminating information that would lead to President Trump's impeachment. And they didn't even care if it was true. And the guy talked to the island owner before he committed undeadness, or unaliveness. And he's like, I ain't got nothing on him. I would love to help myself. Anything I could do, I would help myself by making something up. He didn't have anything on him. So, want you to know right now, 2 days before Trump's scheduled to be inaugurated, and as I said yesterday, this whole ice cold thing is a bunch of BS. This was for security reasons. You can tell at this point, they were willing, and probably are still willing, to do anything, and I do mean anything, to stop this man from taking office. The riots and protests have already begun. If you go on X, you're going to see people up and down the street doing nutty things. And the cops are letting them do it. Don't ask me why. But they're already out there doing it. All up and down the streets of Washington, D.C. People all over on X, high-profile people, are taunting Trump, saying, what are you, a wuss? You can't stand the cold? They're freaking out because he trumped them. No pun is intended. He absolutely put them into checkmate, and whatever they had planned is now in big trouble. Really big trouble. But that's not going to stop them, because just like they did before when they had the quote insurance policy, they are trying to do more things. But unfortunately for them, there are too many people who know now what you people do. And so now he's got them in a box, which also makes them very, very, very dangerous. So you need to pray. Pray, 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 because who knows what's going to happen in the next 24 to 48 hours. You may even see the inauguration moved again. It may be something where they're like, okay, so we told them this, we gave them 24 hours, let's move it again. Let's keep them guessing as to what's going to be going on. Because you can't trust these people. They're terrified. Now it's all beginning to come out. Let me show you something in terms of it all beginning to come out. You're not going to believe this, and it pissed me off when I saw this video. Absolutely pissed me off what the deep state is being allowed to get away with, and even the Republicans are involved. Let me start it and we'll talk.
I do stand by it, and I say this without any personal animus at all. I mean, in some ways I actually kind of feel sorry for Joe Biden. I mean, he's in the twilight years of his life. He is not, obviously has not been in charge for some time. And I know this by personal observation, and now the whole world knows it, and it's been very, very concerning to me over the last, year and a half since I've had this position.
Can you tell us a story?
Okay, so he's about to give up the goods here. And the problem I have with it is, fine, you're spilling the beans a couple days before Trump's inauguration. You knew this since January of 2024, and you didn't say anything. Except maybe perhaps you did. And certain people told you to shut up. So Mike Johnson is about to tell you a story where he found out definitively that Joe Biden wasn't running the country. The Speaker of the flipping House knew specifically that Biden wasn't running the country, and somehow for the last year, this man has remained in office. Thank you for telling us all now. Many of us saw it with our own eyes, and we're like, this doesn't make any sense. So now we're moving into a different phase of government here, where as of today, I don't know what's going on. Merrick Garland does his parade out the front door. Janet Yellen does her parade out the front door. Lloyd Austin does his parade out the front door. In this period of time, in between now and Monday at noon, who the hell's in charge? What is going on? They seem to have abdicated all responsibility in the hope of this basically coming down on Trump's head. And now we find out that Mike Johnson, going to an interview, knew what was going on.
When you say personal observation, what kind of thing did you see?
It's public now because the Wall Street Journal got it and put it on the front page. But January a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, I had been asked. I became Speaker in October 2023, and there were all sorts of big national security concerns and everything going on. And I started requesting a meeting with the president because, I'm kind of old school. I'm a constitutional law guy. The Speaker of the House should be able to talk to the president, especially in times of great national interest and calamity. But they wouldn't let me meet with him, and his staff kept giving me excuses. This went on for like 8 or 9 weeks. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, he doesn't have time. What are you talking about? I'm second in line of the presidency. He has time. I need to talk to him. We had, I can't say the classified parts, but we had some big national concerns at the time that I was losing sleep over. Finally, I just went to the Hill Press Corps and I said, the president is not being allowed to meet with the Speaker. There's a problem. So they started putting pressure on him. Long story short, they finally relented. They invited me to the White House. I show up and I realize it's actually an ambush because it's not just me and the president. It's also Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem, the CIA director, everybody. And then, so I walked in the Oval and, I know what this is. They're going to hotbox the Speaker on Ukraine funding. That's what it was. This is probably third week of January. we sit down, we're in the midst of it, and the whole conversation, and I'm going, we don't need to have this conversation. The president reaches over just like this. We're sitting right next to the fireplace in the Oval, and he grabs my arm and he says, the speaker and I just need a couple minutes together. Would y'all just leave us alone? And I looked up on the faces of some of the staff standing around the wall, and they're like, oh, no, he did it. So he called it. He's the commander-in-chief. So everybody leaves, and he and I are standing awkwardly in the middle of the Oval Office right over the rug by that coffee table. And I said, Mr. President, thanks for the moments. This is very important. I got some big national security things I need to talk to you about that I've heard, and I think you know, and what do we do? But first, real quickly, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? I cannot answer this from my constituents in Louisiana. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? Like, I don't understand, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, And he looks at me, stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order, 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully, could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely...
So he wasn't talking about me. The woman talking to him, her name is Barry Weiss. So it occurs to him at that moment, in January of 2024, Biden's not running the show. He is merely the puppet we all thought he was, and Mike Johnson specifically knew that in January of 2024, a year ago. And they allowed this guy to continue. In fact, they allowed him to continue campaigning. Wasn't until, July, 27th, that he imploded at the debate. And all the while, everybody obviously knew. Mike Johnson, whoever he told, everybody knew this guy was gone. And all these documents that he has signed for the last year, and all the things that he's tried to do with executive order, everybody knew this guy was done. He was three steps short of a staircase. So my question to Donald Trump, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, everybody else, what in the hell are you going to do about all these things he signed? If he didn't sign them, if he wasn't in his right mind, if he had no concept of what he was doing, or worse, if people had a rubber stamp, or they were forging his name, or faking documents and saying, here, sign here, and he wasn't even astute enough to know they were slipping documents, how can any of this stuff that he's done over the last year, 2 years, even be considered legal? And I'm wondering, let's just go along with it because this is a scandal of epic proportions that could bring down the country. Well, it can bring down the country until Monday. So maybe what we should do Monday at about 12:30, Trump should start it before Pam Bondi and whoever else start the investigation right away as to when we can determine with reasonable surety that this guy had been checked out. You can start by going back to the Robert Hur special counsel report. When he said, as many of you remember, when he said this guy couldn't stand through a trial. He's toast. He's senile. He's old. He can't remember what he had for breakfast. You have a starting point. In other words, Kash and Pam, and I know I'm not telling them anything they don't know, that's what's called probable cause. You have evidence right now. You have the special counsel's report. That is a huge bit of evidence that says and concludes this guy's off his frickin' rocker. How dangerous was that as leaving him in the presidency? All the people who nodded along, Karine Jean-Pierre, Pete Buttigieg, Anthony Blinken, Merrick Garland, all you people knew It is not going to take much for Pam Bondi and Kash Patel to open up an investigation, and the only reason they wouldn't is if it would destroy America and when people find out. Me, I'm strong enough. We all saw it. We knew. The idiots who don't, that's their problem. At this point, you have evidence to go in and begin looking and doing some, cognitive testing and seeing if this guy can even spell his own name. Go for it. But then again, we may not be able to. Because what happens when he, later today or tomorrow, the pardons start flying? Now we're going to have to figure out how to prove this guy shouldn't be signing pardons and that he doesn't even know what he's doing about that. How about when the pardons fly, you do some sort of investigation and you get him into a deposition and said, hey, did you sign a pardon for this person? And give him fake names if you have to. See if they try to coach him. He just said, oh, yeah, I did that. This is awful, awful.
Did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country? I don't know who put the paper in front of him, but he didn't know.
So as the Speaker of the House, second in line to the presidency, right behind Kamala, and if you knew and could acknowledge right now, we were a serious problem. How did you rectify and deal with a serious problem? What was your job? I would think, as the person second in line, that you have an obligation to the people of America, of the United States, to say, hey, listen, we got a serious problem. Is there no way you chose to deal with it other than forget about it? And so I'm sure you've told Trump. There's no doubt Trump knows. So it's going to be very interesting what Trump does at this point. And now you're seeing some of the reason why these people are going into these hearings and they're going in and saying, yeah, you're going to go after your political opponents. No, they're not political opponents. They're criminals. We're going to investigate crimes. And we've got a giant padlock or key to unlock the padlock called the Special Counsel's Report. That was put in, that was filed, that was recorded. All they got to do is start there. First witness, Robert Hur. Robert, you wrote this down, yeah. And you said this, yes, and this and this and this. Okay, yeah. Who did you show this document to? And boom, now you got the ability to go talk to them. Oh, you showed it to Kamala. Oh, you showed it to Christopher Wray. Who's seen this document? So you don't have to worry about the whole, try to find a person and find a crime. No, we know where the crime is at this point. If the crime was put a scam over America and fraudulently have this tackling dummy as president, and nobody's supposed to know, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and nobody is supposed to know. These people are evil incarnate. Trump better have security. He better move around like a drug dealer. Don't sleep in the same place for 2 nights in a row for some time. Because they've got stuff planned. Let's continue.
Signifies. Cleaning house is dirty work. It's getting rid of things you've been holding on to for a little too long. And that's Washington right now, on the eve of Trump's return. Exhibit 1, the ouster of Mike Turner. Now, Mike Turner isn't a household name, so his firing may not mean much to you right now, but it's a big deal. And Democrats and Mockingbird Press are panicking. And I use that last line deliberately. The old guard, CIA and Swamp, are very upset over Mike Turner's firing.
I love the way she set this up and how she wrote her script there. Perfect. The old guard, i.e. the CIA and the Swamp. It was funny. I have an interview coming up with Tim Burchett from Tennessee. And he had told me something that was pretty interesting. Let's stop calling him the Swamp. And I realized, yeah, I live near a swamp. I'm right by the Everglades. I literally, if I get in the car and go west about 2 miles, I'm in, the Everglades. And the swamp is its own ecosystem. It's full of life and vitality. It has alligators, and it has birds, and it has snakes, and it has water, it has flowers, it has plants. It is an ecosystem of vitality. Washington, D.C. is a cesspool. It is not a swamp. We're going to have to start changing the words. It is a sewer. And so Chanel here is going to tell you about Mike Turner. If you don't know who Mike Turner was, it has been uncovered that Mike Turner was the cog for the deep state. Everybody thinks he got fired out of the blue. That's not what happened.
Big shakeup on Capitol Hill, the Speaker of the House firing the Republican chair of the House Intel Committee. Why? What does this mean?
Exactly. It is extraordinary as well. Mike Turner is known for being bipartisan as chair in his oversight of the intelligence community. I spoke with him. He told me this afternoon Speaker Johnson called him into his office and said, "You're fired. There are concerns from Mar-a-Lago." In other words...
Oh, in other words, Trump. In other words, you don't have to say in other words. You said it all right there. Mike Johnson spoke to Trump, told him what he saw with Mike Turner, understood that this guy was the linchpin for the deep state, and Trump said, he got to go. Get him out of here before I get in office. And so the media immediately began freaking out. That was like the next Mike Pence. He was their insurance policy. And now he's gone.
Donald Trump, the president-elect, told Mike Johnson to fire the man overseeing the intelligence community who has access to some of the nation's greatest secrets. Now, there was no explanation as to why, but big picture here, Nora, this is not how government's supposed to work.
I'm sorry, Nora. I didn't know she knew how government's supposed to work. I love how they spew stuff out of their mouth so that the nuts who listen to them just sit there, yeah. And then they can go repeat it on X. This isn't how government's supposed to work. Really? What exactly is the definition that you have, which you want your audience to listen to and swallow, in regards to how government's supposed to work? The swamp got to keep swamping. The cesspool got to keep cessing. Is that what you're saying? Because I don't want to hear from some chick on CBS. I'm sorry, I'm not being sexist, because I don't want to hear from a guy either on CBS telling me this isn't how the government's supposed to work.
Correction. This is not how the swamp is supposed to work. Translation? The swamp just lost another lifeline. Mike Turner is a Republican congressman from Ohio's 10th District. He's been a full-time D.C. politician for 22 years. Turner is at the heart of Republican circles, a long-standing figure in the establishment. He's been a Ukraine NATO hawk. He loves the FISA court's ability to spy on any American it wants. He loves sending billions to the military-industrial complex. He is, in turn, loved by the current intelligence community. Turner's firing is important. Take heart in this headline because it has all the right people panicking. Our friend Molly Hemingway noted dryly, the Democrats are far more upset about Mike Turner being removed from the intel community than any Republican. She highlights Democrats like Congressman Himes of Connecticut bemoaning Turner's firing. Quote, his removal makes our nation less secure and is a terrible portent for what's to come. The Constitution demands Congress function as a check on the executive branch, not cater to its demands.
So, now you're worried about the Constitution, huh? After all the stuff that Biden has been doing keeps getting thrown out of court once it gets appealed. You know, DACA just got tossed out. This whole thing with student loans is going to get tossed out. And then yesterday, Biden decided on his own he was going to amend the Constitution. It's got to be the law right now, the 28th Amendment of the Constitution. I didn't see CBS out there talking about, hey, that's not how this works. They didn't question that. In fact, a ton of Democrats were applauding it. And they started getting community noted over and over and over on X. The president cannot amend the Constitution. I didn't see Jim Himes talking about what Biden did. I don't hear Jim Clyburn. I don't hear Adam Schiff. You cannot speak into existence a constitutional amendment and just say, oh yeah, it's law now, as he did yesterday or the day before. So when these people start talking about, oh, it's the Constitution, you don't care about the Constitution. It has meant nothing to you. It is a fake piece of paper as far as you're concerned. It's something that, like a roadmap. How do we get around it? We don't want to look at this, so let's find a road around it. And here's what we'll do. We'll take people to court. We'll do our dirt, and then we'll get sued, and we can do our dirt for, the next 24 months until it works its way to the court. And we're like, okay, we couldn't do it. Wink, wink. We just did for 2 years. There's got to be something in these courts that says if you're getting constitutionally challenged, you have to stop what you're doing until it's ruled on. Because the Democrats have figured out we can do whatever we want. And then when we get sued, it's going to take 24 or 36 months. But in that period of time, we've done as much damage as we possibly can. That is their modus operandi. I'm going to show you in a second here someone who's basically training people to do just that.
And Nancy Pelosi protege, House Democrat Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, going out of his way to make known he loved and supported this good Republican. In a press release, quote, Mike Turner is a serious, thoughtful, and highly principled leader whose work as chair of the House Intel Committee has been extremely impactful. And if you needed any more convincing that all the right people are upset at Turner's departure from this role, here's failed Hollywood screenwriter and part-time CIA mole, Adam Schiff, who was none too pleased either.
Why do you believe Mike Turner was fired?
Well, I think he didn't pass the test at Mar-a-Lago. And look, this is someone I served with on the Intelligence Committee. It was a vast improvement on Devin Nunes.
I'm sorry, Adam. I want people to be able to pass the test that comes from Mar-a-Lago. I want people to be able to pass the test of the person sitting in the Oval Office come Monday afternoon. That, to me, is the benchmark. You guys try to make it as though it's a bad thing when that is exactly the benchmark. I don't want you on my team. Period. End of story. No question. If you're not doing what I need you to do, then you don't need to be here. I am tired of our government thinking that the guy in the Oval Office, he's just going to hang out for 4 years, but we're the ones who actually get shit done. We run this. No, that can't happen. As Trump has said, the people now want the strength. The people want to take back the Department of Education. The people want to not have to pay exorbitant taxes. We run this. Trump is just facilitating. Get this dude out of here. And then you go to MSNBC, and I don't know who watches that crap, because they are being gaslit in epic proportions.
Same time, even while he was willing to carry a lot of water for Donald Trump, particularly during that first impeachment, he wasn't willing to carry enough, apparently. And so Johnson is here doing the bidding of Donald Trump, removes Mike Turner.
So here's what's really happening. I'm getting this from sources very high up. Mike Turner was caught trying to stack the deck against Donald Trump inside the White House National Security Council. This was an attempted hostile takeover of the NSC. Donald Trump stood up to Turner, who was trying to siphon off his people and snake them into the machine. Remember, a few weeks ago, key former Trump NSC people raised some alarms. They caught the machine trying to ensure that key Biden national security people were to remain past Inauguration Day. Essentially, If Mike Turner's plan would have succeeded, Turner would have had all his people running the Trump White House NSC and, in turn, running the entire Trump national security apparatus. What does that mean? The National Security Council touches every agency inside the federal government. Mike Turner would have been the de facto president of the United States.
They won't tell you that on MSNBC. They don't want you to know that. This guy was put in a position, and he was basically going to just go in and mull his way through and make sure that Trump wasn't going to be able to put his people in place. Am I worried about what happens in the next 24 to 48 hours? You're damn right I am. He was able to root this one out. But as you saw with, what was, let me see if I have it here. Yeah, I do. We got a problem coming. We have a big problem coming. I want to show you this. This is, Benny posted it. This is Merrick Garland leaving his office yesterday. And these people are all clapping for him. And so what I'm thinking is, at this point, we need to have somebody go through here and do some facial recognition, and every one of these people need to be fired. By Monday at 2 o'clock, these people should all have to be emptying their desk and getting the hell out. Look at them. It's a DEI party. This should make you sick. And here comes Merrick Garland, and these big smiles, and he's clapping, and these people are all ecstatic about Merrick Garland. So, what that tells you, or should tell you, if these people are still working in the Department of Justice come Monday afternoon, they're all Merrick Garland people. They gotta go. Those are worms. That is vermin going to be running around the halls of the Department of Justice. Every single one of these people. All of them. Including the bodyguards, everybody. You cannot run this government with all these people still there. It can't happen. And Mike Turner wanted to make sure that as many of those people in these offices, remember, the NSC, as she just said, controls many of the agencies. One of those agencies, DOJ. Now you're seeing why they're having such a huge problem with Tulsi Gabbard. They know what that position means. They know that her and Ratcliffe can do some serious damage to the deep state. So let's continue.
Under the guise of being a good, supportive Republican just helping out. Power of staff. This is what cleaning up the swamp looks like. And it's not even Monday yet.
We got to do it. It's going to be painful, and these people are going to freak. The fact that in this next piece, the fact that they put this guy still on television, knowing the traitorous way he has been, to know that he's a backstabbing piece of crap who will lie, and I'm saying this not to defame him, because he has lied, because he signed this letter about the laptop. We know he's a trained liar. He is a complete anti-Trump, and now he goes across the world telling everybody not to listen to Trump.
When you were the CIA director, that did not make you America's chief diplomat. But in terms of our relationships with our allies, your role as CIA director involved interaction with your counterparts all over the world. It's the same thing with the DNI. If there are concerns about high-level intelligence officials in the United States, that affects the way in which allies share information with us, and we share information with allies, again, in this very dangerous world.
Yes, I think our allies and partners are already concerned about how Donald Trump will handle intelligence matters, given his reckless...
Who? I don't know. You said all these people are concerned. Who? Because MSNBC will just put you on there just to completely lie to their audience. You, the shameful, the most embarrassing CIA person we've probably ever had in office, who signed a letter. You got 51 other people to sign. You have no shame. You lied to the American people. This dude got his boys together to sign a letter saying that the laptop was Russian disinformation, knowing full well he was deceiving the entirety of the nation. Doesn't matter. He gets a job on MSNBC. Who's paying him? Why would MSNBC retain the services of a proven liar? Why would any company pay somebody like that? Yeah, probably because, if you don't, you get in trouble with the deepers, I'll call them.
Handling of it, as well as his disregard and disparagement of the intelligence community. And so now there's somebody who is nominated to be on top of the intelligence community, who has demonstrated, I think, great loyalty and fealty to Donald Trump. And I think a lot of our allies and partners wonder what's going to be the fate of the intelligence that...
You see, one of the things that, by them saying it over and over, it should really make you understand. They keep saying people who are loyal, people who have swore fealty, and all. You know why that bothers them? Because they have none. They have no loyalty. They haven't had loyalty for quite some time. They go where the dollars go. They don't care. They don't. He would turn his back that fast on Biden. He would turn his back that fast on Obama. These people don't have loyalty anybody other than a greenback. They go where the money goes. They are mercenaries. And so they loathe people who actually have loyalty. Allegiance. There's a reason why we've taken that out of schools. I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag and for what it stands, for which it stands. These guys have no allegiance. They are mercenaries available to the highest bidder. And they loathe people who are loyal because they're not like them. They actually have standards. They can't be bought. They're not used to being able to work with people who don't have a price tag. And that's what's happened to our country for quite some time. It has been run and governed by people who have no loyalty, whether to each other or to the flag. It's up to the highest bidder, including somebody as horrible as Joe Biden. The man has been in government for 50 years, hasn't had a salary higher than $400,000, and only then for the last 4 years. So prior to becoming president, he didn't make more than $200,000 or so as a senator. How in the hell is he worth gazillions? And then you're going to hear people say, well, he wrote a book, the biggest money laundering scandal out there. Raise your hand if you found someone who read Joe Biden's book. You can walk into any stadium, talk to 50,000. Can you raise your hand if you've ever read Joe Biden's book? Nobody read that damn book. The entirety of the New York Times bestseller list is a crock. I can get you on the first page of the New York Times bestseller list. I know. I've helped people who have written books get on that list. It's kind of easy. It is completely fake. If you got enough investors and you want to have a #1 book, that's going to be pretty easy. You just find out where on the list you need to get to, and then you buy enough of those books and give them out to your friends. They don't care if 1,000 books came from one person or 5,000 books got shipped to somebody. They just take the aggregate total. I don't know if you knew that. So, where did Joe Biden get his millions? Donald Trump. Oh, there's buildings all over the place with his name on it. Oh, he's been bankrupt 6 times. You know what that means? He kept going. I don't understand when people say that like it's some sort of denigration. Oh, he's been bankrupt 6 times. What kind of businessman is he? When it keeps going, if it doesn't work, you just don't go, oh, well, that one didn't work. I'm done forever. What should I do? Go work for the government. No, a true businessman continues. And like, this didn't work? Okay, let's try this. Oh, this didn't work? Let's try that. Not every house I ever purchased and resold did I make a bunch of money on. Some pooped the bed. Okay, did it mean I'm not going to buy any more houses? It means you get back on that horse as fast as you can and start buying and selling some more. It's a commodity. I don't get scared off by a loss. I may get scared off on something in a series of losses in the same pool, because then I'd be stupid. Hey, you bought the same house in the same neighborhood that you lost on before. That's on you. Get out of this neighborhood. It's toxic. Okay. Trump lost money in this. Trump lost money in that. He had to file. And none of those but by the way, not a single one of those bankruptcies was personal. You see, the media and his opponents like to use that as it's something against him. And he personally has never filed bankruptcy. Different corporations have filed bankruptcy. Huge difference. But I guess these people don't know that because they're liars and they're mercenaries.
They share with the United States intelligence agencies. As good as the U.S. intelligence community is, we rely heavily on the assistance and the support and the intelligence of many, many intelligence services around the globe. And it just sends a very bad signal that we're going to have somebody at the helm of the intelligence community who doesn't have the experience, the qualifications, the credentials, and also engages in such questionable and controversial activities heretofore.
All right, so let me take a few comments before we continue. Don't tell Melania about the bestseller book list. People actually probably bought her book. I mean, actually, if you go into a store, you'll see people reading it. Biden's book is probably plagiarized. Not only plagiarized, no, it's probably not plagiarized because he didn't write a word of it. That's the other thing. If you want to be a book writer, you can hire ghostwriters and you pay them a fee and then you just stick your name on as if you wrote it. It's crazy. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and others have filed bankruptcy many times. You have to. It's crazy. The rats are running. Yep, they're scared. Who is signing these orders? Good question. That's what I think Trump has to find out right away. Take every single executive order and examine it and see if it's an original signature first off the bat. Because now it's going to be easy. Oh, no, this is rubber stamped. He never signed this. And then I think you should go to court and say, look, see, we had a forensic look at this document. He didn't sign this. Did I see your comment tonight on what's going on tonight at Mar-a-Lago? No, I didn't, but I will check. Here, let me just search real quick. BLS. See what your comment says. I can search this way. Where are you? Okay, so you said, I guess you mean Right Side Broadcast hosting something from Mar-a-Lago with fireworks. Okay. I don't know. You're not shadow banned. I can see it. All right, so I'll check it out, but I probably won't be around for that. It's a dinner night with the wife because tomorrow is a really, really, really long, big day. Next 2 days are just crazy. We're starting at 11 tomorrow. Air Force One is picking Trump up right now. Okay, bringing him up to Washington. Brennan works for Iran. So. Let me just show you this. This one is going to make your hair curl. This guy runs or is part founder or whatever of the website and YouTube channel Midas Touch. Far left. And he's a lawyer, so he's smart. Don't think this guy isn't smart. Don't think that he doesn't know exactly what he's talking about. But for some reason, he felt comfortable making a video telling people what they were going to do to try and stop Trump. You won't believe this. This is probably one of the most important videos you will see for days. Because he outlines exactly how the left is going to attack Trump. And it could work. He's not talking far-fetched crazy stuff. This guy is smart. He's intelligent. And it makes you think, oh, crap, this is what they got planned? So you better hope that Trump has seen his video and has basically planned ahead 4 or 5 chess moves so he can stop what these people are going to do.
President Musk, and he's come out and said, oh, it's a ticky-tack lawsuit and shows they don't have anything against him and whatever. But the reason that you would want to file this suit is the same reason that Joe Biden is continuing to pass laws to try to Trump-proof democracy. The more Joe Biden does in the waning days of his administration through administrative agencies like SEC, and stacks it up in front of Donald Trump, the more Donald Trump has to undo. The more Joe Biden does, the more Donald Trump has to undo. And eventually, in that curve of resources, political capital, and time, Donald Trump's going to run short. There's only so much he can do on day 1 or day 100 in his administration. And many of the things that Joe Biden has done, for instance, are Trump-proof. It's going to be very difficult for him to reverse 330 million acres being put into a wilderness preserve so it can't be drilled for oil or gas based on the way.
What gets me with these people is that they're happy screwing America. See, you're not screwing Trump. You're not helping democracy. You are actively, some could maybe even say treasonous, you are actively moving forward with the sole objective to screw Trump. Take Trump name out of it. You are actively moving forward with the sole objective of screwing America. And they're happy. This is exactly what they want. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make this and we're going to do this just so it stifles Trump from doing anything. You're so power hungry, you would rather destroy America than have it successful. Hey, you can't drill anywhere. What? Nope. From now on, everything is a natural reserve and we can't drill anywhere because the salmon might be hurt. So it's not Trump you're hurting. If we have to pay $4 or $5 or $6 a gallon of gas, it's us these people are hurting. Democrats need to be destroyed. That's why I keep saying it over and over and over. This isn't about winning. This is about eviscerating. Let's make sure we, metaphorically, choke the life out of these people. We cannot have anything left. I've walked into many houses where I've had to renovate and I've had to call exterminators. I'm like, get rid of them. Put the tent over the thing. Destroy the termites. Destroy the roaches. Do whatever you want. I don't want any here. I'm not going to walk around with a spray can and hope they don't come back. Put the tent. Drop the tent on them. Turn on the gas. Waste everything in there. That's what needs to happen to the Democrat Party. Metaphorically speaking. You cannot leave them in a position where they can raise their ugly head 4 or 2 years from now. They have to be destroyed because this is what they want to do.
That law is written. Very smart. It's going to be very hard for Donald Trump immediately to undo giving people temporary protective status as immigrants. And it's going to be very hard for him to kill lawsuits like the one that was just filed against Musk. It will happen. The new SEC chair will withdraw this, but we want Trump to expend scarce political capital and look the American people in the eye and say, oh, I took that lawsuit away. I gave Musk a free ride, even though he's going to be the head of my Department of Government Efficiency. The show Conflicted Ethics. It helps in our politics to see Donald Trump have to make actual moves on a chessboard, all for the public to see. And that's why these cases being filed even so late, even on the last day or the last minute, are important because of what?
I couldn't believe he was saying this. Just file anything. Make him expend political capital. Make him run around like a chicken with his head cut off, having to deal with this, having to deal with that. Let's throw as much stuff at him as we can. Let's screw America so badly that, he can't help but fail. And I'm thinking to myself, you seem to be living okay. Nice property. Looks like you're in Long Island. I think is where he's from. You've made your money. But you want to destroy everybody else just because it's Trump. Notice he didn't say anything thus far about helping people pay less at the pump, helping people pay less in the grocery stores, helping people get lower rate interest loans or mortgages. Nope. Their one focus, their tunnel vision, destroy Trump. And they don't even realize, or maybe they do, destroy America. Why would you put hundreds of thousands of newcomers in a, quote, temporary protective agreement? What does that do for us? What does that do for Americans? You don't care. And since they don't care about us, we should care even less about them.
Donald Trump's going to have to expend in order to undo it. And every time he's doing something to undo something that Joe Biden or the SEC did is one less minute, one less resource that he has to do something forward-looking, to do something to advance one of his policies. That's why you got to continue to build. You want to build a wall? Build a wall of policies and lawsuits and rules and executive orders that Donald Trump has to try to dismantle in the limited time he has. I know it seems like it's interminable. He hasn't even gotten in yet. But I'm telling you, that 4 years is going to go by quickly. The 2 years until the midterms is going to go by even more quickly. He could be lame duck within 18 months if we have our way.
He could be lame duck within 18 months if we have our way. Their strategy. I heard somebody go, who is this idiot? This guy is a high-priced attorney. He's just not some nobody. I'm sure he's talking to Mark Elias. This is what their plan is. Make him a lame duck in 18 months. Cripple him. Handcuff him. Put on the ankle chains. Instead, we couldn't put him in jail. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put him in literal lawsuit hell. Sue him over everything. That's what we got to look forward to. That's where we are. Yeah. We, the people, will be paying these bills for these numbnut lawyers. Yeah, absolutely. But you see what their plan is. Their plan is to just mire him down in lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. To delay, to delay, to delay. Now, what I find interesting is, do people on the left not understand what these people are doing? Because if you are on the left, if you do watch MSNBC or CNN, if you're one of the anchors on there, then what you're actively saying to your audience is, I hate you. You are telling people, I would rather be in power than see you prosper. They're pissed off that people made millions yesterday with the Trump coin. Oh, it's a ripoff, it's this and that. I'm like, how is it a ripoff? Guys buying Bentleys and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And, the returns were 10,000% return overnight. How is it ripping people off if you have money? I put in 1,000 and I woke up and I got 360,000. How is that a ripoff? I bettered myself. Maybe it's going to be tough for the new people getting in. Maybe the people who decide to hold and hold and hold and it comes down. But one, nobody's twisting anybody's arms to buy it. Anybody who was lucky enough to see when it happened last night, it took nothing to get in. Literally, you could have put $50 in and just said, let me see what happens. And then watch this thing go into like $10, $20, $30, $40,000. I own many cryptos that are like 0.101 cent. Because I put like $20 in there. And if something happens, yeah, it's like a lottery ticket. But it's even cheaper than a lottery ticket. I could buy like 1,000 shares for like $20. So at 18 cents, that means you could have bought 18 times into $1. Let's say 20. You could have bought 5 coins for $1. And then you could have bought, 100 coins for $20. And now those coins are worth billions. Not each coin, but the market. And you'd be sitting on, if you had spent X amount of dollars, you'd be sitting on a couple million. But they're not going to talk about that. They're going to say it's a ripoff. They're going to say this. They're going to say they don't want to see you prosper. They want you sucking off the teat of the government. They need you needy. They need you wanting. And please don't hurt my X, Y, and Z, because and I see it in the chat all the time. Oh, don't touch my Social Security. Don't touch my 401k. And when you understand what people are saying, they have been conditioned at this point to relying on the government. And so anything that takes you away from relying on the government, they don't want. They need you to be in that matrix pod. They need you in that pod. Those of you who have seen a movie, you're sitting in the pod. They need you there. They need you worried about what would happen if this or that happened. Can you imagine waking up tomorrow? Can you imagine waking up today and realizing, wow, I spent $500 and now I'm sitting on $3 million just from last night. I picked a line. It lines up perfectly with the Super Bowl champs this year. Trump is on the USA playing. Fantastic. So anyway, that's what they're doing. So let me cover a couple other quick stories for you. I liked what this one was. DC Drano, he's a good guy to follow. It says, a lot of us are confused why Democrats seem so weak after Trump's popular vote victory. Here's my best theory. It's not that they have some secret plan up their sleeves. They've used every weapon they have. Media attacks, impeachments, indictments, lawsuits, special counsels, and even a couple of assassination attempts. All this did was make Trump more popular. The final weapon was election fraud, and he beat that machine with a popular vote victory and took every swing state. They know 10% plus of their votes are fraudulent, so Trump didn't just beat them, he destroyed them. And now he's going to disassemble their election fraud machine and reinforce free speech on social media. We have utterly incinerated the Democrat deep state machine, and now we just need to finish the disinfecting process in D.C. That's what I'm saying to you. You need to help and get on social media and work to eliminate these people. Rasmussen said this, and this is from Mark Mitchell. We'll be talking to him next week. Their final weapon was election fraud, and he beat the machine with a popular, he's restating that. He destroyed them, and now he's going to disassemble their election fraud machine and reinforce free speech on social media. This is their worst nightmare. And they have one cog left, and that's these guys here. And it's funny because Google/YouTube just announced yesterday that they were doing away with fact-checking on their videos in the EU. They still haven't said they're going to do it here in the United States, but they've said they're going to do it in the EU. So I want to play this for you real quick.
And then, Steve, today the president-elect is commenting on that TikTok ban. What's he saying?
Yeah, this decision being left on Donald Trump's lap by the outgoing administration, and Trump telling NBC just moments ago that he is considering a potential 90-day delay on this ban. That could potentially give TikTok an opportunity to find a U.S. seller. It could give Congress time to reconsider whether or not it actually wants to ban the Chinese-based app from the U.S. marketplace. But remember, this is an app that there was bipartisan support for banning, including at one point from Donald Trump, and many Republicans followed him down this line of reasoning that it didn't deserve to be operating here because of its ties to the communist regime in China. However, Donald Trump has certainly undergone an about face there, partially as a result of utilizing the app successfully during his campaign, and he actually intended to have the CEO of the company as one of the several tech executives attending his inauguration, Fred.
Hey guys, I just had an 11-minute phone conversation with President-elect Donald Trump. A lot of headlines to cover, but one of the biggest ones, he told me he is seriously considering a 90-day extension for TikTok to give it that extra time to divest from the Chinese-owned company ByteDance. Now, he made it very clear this is complicated. He's still in the process of trying to make that final decision. So there is no final decision yet, but that's one of the options that he is considering. Of course, this comes after the Supreme Court did uphold the ban, got a lot of backlash from TikTok users online. So what will President-elect Trump do? We will hopefully learn more on Monday when he is sworn into office for a second time.
I had said to you yesterday, you know, a lot of you are older, and you're like, why don't I care about TikTok? Why do I even have anything in my mind in regards to whether TikTok goes dark or not? And she kind of touched on it, which, by the way, she posted that on TikTok. That's Kristen Welker of MSNBC/NBC. Because Trump broadened that base. I don't know if you guys have seen anything in the last 24 hours. Well, one, I just told you about the meme coin going up to $25 billion in valuation overall. Number two, last night they had a Bitcoin crypto party, part of the inauguration events. And David Sachs, who's going to be the crypto czar, he showed up and, you know, basically he was emceeing and talking. And I don't know if you've seen the videos of some of the people who showed up and performed. Rick Ross, black rapper from down here in South Florida. He performed. I think Soulja Boy was one of the black rappers who performed. And then there was one other black rapper who used to be a Trump hater. None other than Snoop Dogg performed. People are like, am I seeing this right? Is this Snoop Dogg at a Trump event? I'm not making it up when I tell you guys, and I say it over and over, to eliminate the fringe nuts on the right. Because it cannot be any more obvious how big Trump wants to make this tent. Snoop Dogg? Rick Ross? Soulja Boy? Nelly? Crypto Bros? These are people Republicans could never have touched. Ever. Ever. And now they're showing up at Trump events? It's a whole new world. This man has basically eliminated any stigma that there has been against him and has regained his celebrity. You remember the celebrities who, you know, the stars all wanted to hang out with Donald Trump, and he was in the movie Home Alone, walked in, talked to Macaulay Culkin. He was bigger than life, The Apprentice. And then all of a sudden all this stuff came out, and they made him toxic. Oh, this Trump guy. Oh, no, Trump, yeah. Snoop Dogg even made a video of him shooting him in the head. Many of you may have seen it. Well, this guy's scum. And now he somehow, I don't know if it's because he got shot, he has regained his celebrity. He has regained his chutzpah. He has regained everything they took from him before, and now they're in big trouble because some of the people on the left, or who considered themselves to be on the left, are now dancing to Trump. And what you're going to see over the next 24 to 48 hours is a lot of people, many, many, many people that you would not have ever thought would have been Trump supporters, now coming in to MAGA. I showed you yesterday, I don't know what Bill Gates talked to him about. Bill Gates goes to Mar-a-Lago. Of course, you know about Zuckerberg. And of course, you know about Bezos. You know about all these people going down and kissing the ring. And I see the refrain over and over and over. I don't trust him. I don't trust this guy. I don't trust that guy. How many people, let me just ask you this. How many people that you don't trust, how many people that you don't like, how many people that you have an axe to grind with, have you invited to your house to break bread at your dining table with your family? Be honest. Be honest. There's some people in my life I don't want nothing to do with them. I wouldn't say, hey, come on in, let's have dinner. Robin, can you cook up some meal for these guys? But they don't like you. You don't like them. No, it's different now. It's different now. That's what I think a lot of people in the so-called Republican Party need to begin embracing very quickly. You're going to see a bunch of it this weekend if you didn't see some of the stuff last night. This is not your mom's Republican Party. This isn't your grandma's Republican Party. He is doing it like he's always done it. It's a big-ass tent. And I keep seeing it get big. Snoop Dogg? I keep seeing it get bigger. No wonder the left is freaking out. They're beginning to lose celebrity. If they lose celebrity and he comes back to being the bigger-than-life character that he has been his entire life, they're done. We just need to finish them off and ignore the crazies on our side. This is the MAGA party. You're absolutely right. Enjoy it. It's MAGA. There's so many... I can't even tell you. I go to stretch because my quads are tight. And the guy who stretches me is a black guy. And he starts whispering like this. I'm like, why are you whispering? He goes, hey, I've been following some of your videos on Trump. I'm like, why are you whispering? And he's like, yeah, you're right. You don't have to whisper anymore. Put on the sweatshirt, put on the hoodie, put on the hat, which I don't have one big enough for my head, otherwise I'd have one. But it's right there. Right there. You can see it. Right there. There's my Make America Great Again hat. Embrace this. Be the ambassador you should be. Just do it. Stop voting Democrat. They're against your best interest. I'm telling you right now, if this man can indeed get these grocery prices down, if he can get these gas prices down, it's over. And you're telling me, like that guy I just showed you, you're going to fight the guy who's helping people improve their lives? Good luck. What book of strategy did you find that in? Hey, let me go ahead and, basically let's attack and try to stop the guy who's improving Democrat voter lives. Good luck with that. Oh, everything is still centered. Yeah. Okay, so Justice says no Snoop. I ain't asking you to buy his album. But if you want a ticket to the party and you want to be a part of what's going on, I'm not going to tell you can't come in. I'm not ready to, endorse you or buy your albums or any of your gear or anything. But why can't he come in? See, that's the kind of thing people are going to have to start asking themselves. How do people get back in? Even politicians at this point, how do you get back in? We cannot be a party of, nope, you screwed me once, you can never come in here again. You're done. I don't ever want to hear from you again. No, that ain't going to work. That is not going to work. I'm MAGA. I will continue to be MAGA. I'm a Trump supporter. I've basically dedicated the better half of 2 years of doing videos. I'm not going anywhere. And I've been called crazy by people and all kinds of names. You know the names. You've heard them about the cookie. They call it Oreo. I've been called all those names. But some of those people who called me names are now texting me and emailing me. Hey, man, So what's going on? Now you want to know. Now you want to come to the party. Do you never want people to be educated and to understand that there's something there for them? I do. I do, because it makes America great again. It's not America great for MAGA. It's not America great for Republicans. It's not America great for white people. It's not America great for Native Americans. It's America, make America great for America. All Americans. That's what it's all about. He's never put an asterisk. He has never put an asterisk. So if he's never put an asterisk, why are you putting an asterisk on it? Well, I don't trust Zuckerberg. Okay. So? Seriously. So? If Trump invites him to his house, I'm sure Trump's, let's talk. What you got, man? Yeah, okay. You need to show me something. But what do you mean you don't trust him? Nobody cares who you trust. We're in this big tent, and we're Christians. And if somebody comes in, and I don't know what they said when they're talking, but what if Zuckerberg went to Trump and said, you know what, I messed up. I effed up. I did the wrong thing. I made some really bad decisions. I apologize. See, I don't expect that to be publicized. I don't expect there to be a video of that. I don't expect anyone to be snapping pictures. Oh, Mark Zuckerberg's apologized to Trump. Because that's a 1-1. That's a man-to-man discussion. I don't know what he said. Don't know. Have you ever apologized to somebody? Have you ever done wrong to somebody and then been happy that they let you back in their life? It takes a big man and a big woman to do that, doesn't it? Doesn't it take a big man to walk in and go, I'm sorry, I messed up. And at that point, you don't have to trust them. You got to forgive them. Don't you? I'm just saying. Just saying. I care about who Trump supports. Yeah, if he's bringing these people in, I've said it many times. I'm just trying to get through to people who are resisting. Now, yes, Trump is a man and could make mistakes, but I like what he's doing. I love the idea of making this tent as big as possible. You're going to see it tomorrow. You're going to see in this rally, it's going to be all shades of colors and people out there doing things. It started last night. You didn't see that before. So that alone should tell you something is happening. Something big is happening. So I'm going to take a break, and then we'll be back to talk to Tim Burchett of Tennessee. As you know, President Trump has assembled the Avengers to make America great again. And of course, we're all excited and ready to see them get to work. But with everything we're seeing right now, don't take your eye off the ball. Things could get much worse before they get better. With the possibility of World War III still looming, and with the Democrats doing everything they can to impede Trump, you still need to keep your guard up and your money protected. Oh, and our national debt is still massively increasing. Don't get me wrong, I have high hopes for Trump's America, but I also have a family to look out for. You see, Trump and the Avengers have quite the uphill battle ahead. That's why I'm making sure I'm protected, and I'm recommending that you do the same. One way to be protected is by diversifying your portfolio. That's why on this channel I've been happy to partner with Lear Capital. As you know, I've been involved in real estate for quite some time. And although I dabbled in gold and silver, Kevin and his staff at Lear have helped to educate me even further, especially in regards to silver. Give Lear a call today and they'll show you how easy it is to move some of your savings or your retirement account into gold and silver. Gold and silver have been proven to hold value and protect wealth for the long term. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com to get your free gold and silver wealth protection guides. There's no obligation, just free information. Many of you have seen my interviews with Lear founder Kevin Demerit, and I can tell you this company is solid and likes to educate their customers. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you call, don't forget to ask how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. So if you'd like to take advantage of this opportunity, please call my friends at Lear Capital at 800-601-5430 and tell them Barry sent you. Hey everybody, in this next section I've got an interview with Congressman Tim Burchett from Tennessee. Definitely a guy who supports MAGA and America First. Let's jump right into this interview. Now, when did you get to Washington? I think it was 2014. Is that how long have you been here? 2014.
Been here
so in that
7 years.
So in that period of time, what have you seen that you think is probably the first thing that needs to be addressed or cut? Is it this 1% of people coming into the office since of COVID? I mean, what do they need to hone on first that can have a lasting effect with cutting costs?
I don't think we need to build up. I think we need to go for the jugular. I think 2 areas I would look at: Department of Education. I would shut it down, send that money to the states, allow the locals who are held accountable, your state government and your local school boards. I think you'd pay more money to your teachers. Look, the Lord takes 10% with tithe. The Department of Education takes a whole lot more. When it was created or made a cabinet level position under Jimmy Carter, we were number one in the world in education. And now we're in the 20s or something by most standards. And we spent trillions and trillions of dollars. Shut it down. There's not one there's not one bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. that's taught a kid how to read or write and do arithmetic in East Tennessee. I can guarantee you that. Shut it down. And the unions ought to be for this, because if they're truly for getting the teachers more money, but in fact they're more about control and staying in power, and that's just human nature. But I'm calling them out. Let's see it. Get to the table. The other area, there's 2 really I think we ought to look at, is the Pentagon. They have never passed an audit. The last 8 audits they failed. And how do we punish them? We give them more billions of dollars. I think last time we gave them $6 billion more dollars in the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, than they actually even asked for. Now, the war pimps at the Pentagon hate my guts, and for good reason. And, look, those 2 guns behind me, or if there's 3 actually, one down. Those were guns my dad took off of Japanese soldiers that he had a part in killing. So, look, I understand war. I understand my mama lost her oldest brother fighting the Nazis. And my mama flew an airplane during the war. And my daddy was off in the Marine Corps. So, look, I get it. I want America to be strong. If you come at us with a knife, I think we ought to come at you with a submachine gun. And they need to fear us once again, but they don't right now. But the problem you have is the corruption in Washington. Case in point, President Biden, and I'm not going to get into, Ukraine is a waste. We've thrown $200 billion away, and it's going to end up, Trump's going to get in and he's going to negotiate it, and we wasted all that money and time and lives. But when Biden gave them our missile defense system, he gave them ours. Well, under the rules that we have, or agreement we have, we would keep our missile defense system at a certain level, which we should be. We should be ready. We should be prepared for anything. And so what did we have to do? No bid contract, rebuild our missile defense system. Who owns stock in that prior to just a few weeks? Members of the House and Senate, I assume, both parties. They bought it maybe weeks before or days before. That just stinks. Yeah. And nobody's ever called me out on it when I've said that, which should tell you. And and I got called to the woodshed a few weeks back. I had a member of leadership come to me and say, "Hey, you've got you can't keep saying this stuff." I said, "Really? Why?" And he said, "Well, leadership's mad about it, and the higher ups are mad about it." And I said, "Well, but it's the truth, right?" And he said, "Well, yeah, it's the truth. You just can't keep saying it." So that's where we're at as a country. Those are 2 areas I would cut. And I'm sorry I went to preaching, Barry.
No, please, because I mean, I wasn't going to get too far into it, but I saw something that Mike Johnson came up with yesterday, and it drove me crazy. And everybody was talking about it, where he did an interview, and he said that he was talking to Biden and asked him why he signed this or signed that, and Biden said he didn't sign anything. And I'm thinking, it's 2 days before Trump gets in the office. This happened in January of 2024. Why didn't you say something then? Why did you let him continue doing all the crazy things that he did? And now you want to tell everybody he was off his rocker? I mean, we all saw it, but if we had people, who would actually reveal it, but I don't right now.
Yeah, that was the liquid. That was the liquid gas initiative, and we did call it out. Some of us did anyway. I don't know about the speaker.
Yeah.
I did. I can remember railing on that. And the truth is, the national media chose not to address it because they're in bed with this corrupt regime. They elected him, and they got to live with it. And that's why they're backpedaling as fast as they can. That's why mediums like yourself, Barry, are where America goes to get their news, not the lamestream media.
It's amazing because they talk about disinformation when everything that comes out of their mouths is disinformation. And look in the mirror before you tell other people about disinformation. That's why CBS is looking to settle a $10 billion lawsuit with Trump, and why CNN got hit yesterday for millions in fines for defaming that guy. So it's crazy. Now, speaking of corruption, Nancy Mace published a bill to remove migrants who do, and I have to be careful when I say things here, bad things to women and children. And now Anna Paulina Luna has a bill directed at child, PORN. Why do you think the Democrats are always against these bills? I don't understand. They should be slam dunk, 100-0, and everything about this, everybody I talked to is like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would you possibly fight against doing these things to protect women and children?
Well, first of all, they're going to have to answer, why didn't they do it? Why did they not do it? And they'd have to admit they have a problem. It's just these illegals coming over the border that are raping and murdering Americans. They'd have to admit they have a problem. Mm-hmm. It's very clear to me that. And also, I think I'm a Christian. I'm not a very good one, but I think there's a demonic role in all this. I think that some of these people are just rotten to the core.
Yes.
And America needs to address that at some point. I think we need to ask God for forgiveness. Everybody says we need to ask God for direction. We need to ask God for forgiveness first, because we have, with these kids, you got over 300,000 children that are missing, that are in God knows what horrible situation. And yet, yesterday I saw in one of the hearings where the Democrat senator was saying, well, that's old news. That's nothing. But you didn't address it. And someday they're going to have to be held accountable before their maker, because the Bible's pretty clear about how you treat the least amongst you is how you treat me. And I could never, I'm proposing legislation and God put it on my heart. It's not going to help me politically, because honestly, I don't get in the inner city minority vote. I'll get my 12% and go on about it. And but there's a shockingly high number of black kids that are disappearing in America, and nobody gives a darn about them. And I'm raising that issue. I'm proposing legislation. I'm working with the Black Caucus, and because I said, look, if one of y'all does it, it's just going to be, this is another black bill or whatever. And I'm being blunt here, but if a white boy from Tennessee, a conservative, brings the issue up and you all join me, I said, we've got an issue. And they agree with me, and we're working on that. And that, because I think America is sick at its heart, at its core. And we've got to change. We've got to change course. I didn't mean to get into preaching, but sometimes I worry about how much longer God is going to let us continue down this path without destroying us.
Don't ever apologize, at least not to me. Don't ever apologize about so-called preaching. And in fact, what you just said, let me just tell you, as a black guy who had a black family and black nieces and nephews and everything else, this child stuff is racially agnostic. It is a child, and I think you'll get a lot more support than you actually think in regards to in the inner cities, especially what's going on. nobody cares what color, nobody cares what economic status you are. If people are doing bad things to kids, they need to go down. And that, I saw that yesterday. I was with Richard Blumenthal when he was talking to Kristi Noem, and he stepped right into a bear trap and tried to extricate himself, and he couldn't do it. He's like, oh, this family separation thing. She's like, what about the 300,000 kids we can't find? Oh, let's not talk about that right now. And he tried to back out of it, but it was on camera, and his idea to try and trap her, I thought she did a fantastic, all of them have done fantastic jobs so far, just giving these guys a slap across the face because they're in the right. They are actually in the right, and the only way the Democrats can try to stop the train that's coming at them is to use all their tricks and slander and everything else because they can't talk about the issues. Even yesterday, I saw Mayorkas basically backtracked and said it was it was Biden or somebody who he was just following orders, which we know what that means. So speaking of stuff that infringes on us, I see that you're supporting the Abolish the ATF Act and the repeal the NFA Act. Can you tell us more about those two bills and whether or not you think they have the legs, basically to get passed? Because you're proposing some real common sense bills, and I just would like to know if you're going to have the support to get those done.
Well, honestly, just a humorous point. Somebody told me alcohol, tobacco, and firearms is the name of stores down in Florida. So a congressman from Florida told me that. But the reality is that these organizations, maybe when they were formed for good reason, but they've overstepped their bounds. And a lot of this stuff can be handled within the states. It's just another alphabet agency. You have overlap. I do not want to turn it over to the FBI. I can tell you that right now, unless we have some clearer direction. But the ATF is one area I think that we could alcohol and tobacco. They should be under the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, and because they could both qualify there. And as far as firearms go, the complete overreach. I was talking to a fella yesterday that was he was in Tennessee. He's in the news, major. I won't say his name, but he's a major news person, and he and some major international players that you would know had bought a pistol that was manufactured in Knoxville at a gun show in Knoxville, and they got it to Arizona within like a month, and it was over 6 months, and he just got the firearm yesterday in California. Wow. The bureaucracy is not in these crime-free zones. If the criminals if the criminals obeyed those, that would be okay, but they don't. And it's just, these are just overreach. Nobody knows what these departments do other than stand in our way of our constitutional rights. And I'm sick of it. And America needs to take back control of it because the criminals sure as heck can get the guns. Why are they trying to stop me and you as law-abiding citizens? So at some point, that needs to be held up. They need to be held accountable. I doubt it'll pass the Senate, but I'll support it in the House.
Well, keep pushing. One of those bills that you're pushing, which is a no-brainer, and people have to just I cannot even believe this is something we should even be discussing, is you want to defund the Taliban, which I can't even believe that sentence comes out of my mouth, that the U.S. government should be defunding the Taliban. And right now we're giving them, if this number is correct, $40 million per week. Is that real?
Well, it's probably more. And the way it was explained to me when I asked, they said, no, that's not happening. And then I said, well, what about this? And they said, well, it's just a small percentage. But, a small percentage of $1 billion is $40 million. And I was told last week, a friend of mine in the media has a whistleblower that wants to come forward that says it's probably closer to $140 million. I have no doubt that it is. We're sending. We get out of Afghanistan, we leave them billions upon billions of dollars as our high-tech military apparatus. That's, and that's the Chinese, and it's using to fund our wars against us all over the world, and will be in the future. And now we're sending them under aid, and they tax it. So that basically the tax money goes to Taliban. We shouldn't be sending them any money at all because they'll hate us for free. the Taliban pretty much hates Christians and Jews right off the bat. And I assume that hits mine and your religious beliefs. And and I was told a couple days ago that in fact there's possibly hundreds of members of the Taliban that are in America right now.
Yeah,
So
I believe that.
that keeps my head on a swivel when something like this comes out. But I passed it last year. I could not get a senator to even bring it up. And now this year I've got the new senator, I believe, out of Missouri. I'm thinking I'm drawing a blank on his name. I know Tommy Tuberville wants in on it. So we've got plenty of Senate sponsorship this year, and we're going to embarrass some people if they don't pass it. Again, this is one of those things, the big boys that have to say that they let happen. That's why they just hide from this stuff.
What do they use as the excuse why we'd be giving any money to the Taliban?
Yeah, it's under aid to the country, the poor people, but they just steal it. Why do we do this every time? And then here I got people up here in upper East Tennessee and North Carolina after that Hurricane Helene blows through. Hell, they can't even get running water and electricity, and we just voted $100 million to them. And now you've got Biden say he's going to make all the people in California whole or whatever, and then we spent $6 billion by accident to Ukraine extra, and $5 billion would have rebuilt everything in Maui. So there's a whole lot of corruption going on, and America needs to wake up. We need to throw the bums out. Washington D.C. It's not a swamp. A swamp is something. I grew up here in East Tennessee, and we got swamps, and that's kind of a cool little ecosystem. You got frogs and fish and animals that live off of it. It filters water. Washington D.C. is a sewer. It is man-made.
Exactly.
A swamp is made by God, but a sewer is man-made. It has anaerobic decomposition. That's the horrible sulfur smell when you drive by a sewage treatment plant, and you wonder why is that way? Because there's no oxygen and there's no air, and that causes that smell.
I live down here in South Florida. I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't live maybe 3 miles I could be into the Everglades themselves. And if these people who think swamps, they've never been to the Everglades. Washington is not like the Everglades. This is a thriving ecosystem, like you just said. A sewer scum cesspool is exactly what Washington is. So you're going to have I hope you have a fight about this California aid because just like the corruption to the Taliban, I'm not saying Newsom is the Taliban, but I believe that if it's possible, if it's legal, that Trump should appoint, somebody, like a disaster czar to oversee the funds going to these disaster areas to make sure the funds are accounted for and spent wisely. Is the government really going to give Newsom a blank check?
Well, hopefully they give Newsom a key to the door and get him out as quick as possible. But no, I suspect they're going to put it in that big, beautiful bill they're talking about, and that bothers me. Another reason that I'll be probably not voting for that piece of legislation, because that is a nightmare. And they've proven in the past they can't manage their money.
Right.
These things have been preventable. Trump has even said they're preventable, and I just don't trust them. I think these politicians are crooked as a dog's leg, as we say here in East Tennessee.
Well, President Trump blew everybody's mind a couple days ago when he announced something called the External Revenue Service, which I think is a great idea. And I know, one of your guys, Buddy Carter, is pushing a bill to cut income taxes in favor of some sort of sales or consumption tax. Do you think that something that big could ever get passed? And what are your thoughts on what we should be doing about the IRS or income taxes?
I think they better do it in the first 100 days. Heck yeah. Close the IRS down. Let's make the tax rate fair, and let's cut all the nonsense out. And then, and the churches and everybody's going to pitch a fit. They've had a free ride too dadgum long. They're not paying. One of the largest owners of property is different churches and different communities, and they want tax-free status, and they want to pick and choose where they can get involved. Take away their tax-free status and then let them get in the fight.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I hear there's a lot of people who watch my videos who are on fixed incomes, and they're like, a consumption tax would be an increase in me. And I try to let people know a consumption tax is a elective tax, meaning when you go to the store, you're choosing to buy X, Y, or Z. And the income tax, there's no elective. This is what you pay. Your employer takes your money out of your check. You have no say, and it's just gone. And then they've conditioned people to thinking this, refund is some sort of a big deal. And I'm like, what if you could keep 100% of your money and then you choose what you spend it on? So if this cell phone that you want to buy has a 20% sales tax on it, maybe you don't buy that, but it's your choice. I don't understand why that would be a problem. So I hope you guys can really get that done in the first 100 days. So I've covered the confirmation hearings of Pete Hegseth, Pam Bondi, Marco Rubio, and Kristi Noem. And it seems at this point the Democrats are completely feckless. I mean, they seemingly have nothing to go on. I bet you their only hope at this point is to hope to delay and get people like Lisa Murkowski to get in people's way. Do you think those, who I just met, Pete, Pam, Rubio, Scott Bessent, and Kristi Noem, are going to be confirmed? And then how bad of a fight are we going to have for Tulsi, RFK Jr., and of course Kash Patel?
I hope they've shot all their shots already. I know Tulsi very well. I think she's very accomplished. I think she can handle it. And RFK, he's a wild card. I just don't know what's going to happen with that. I'm watching the food giants are going to pitch a fit on him and try to discredit him as much as possible. But I hope and pray they get in there. We need to shake this thing up, and we need to get this over with. We need to get America going. You got to remember, the last go around, Trump told me they kept some of his guys out for 2 years. One guy had to declare bankruptcy, and then they didn't even appoint him. So it's just it's a nightmare, and it's a bureaucracy, and we ought to be calling it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So in closing, because I know you got to go, I have one more question, and this is pretty big. A lot of people may not be realizing there's something really big happening Monday night, and it's not the inauguration ball or anything. Monday, Notre Dame plays Ohio State for the national championship. So since you're in Tennessee, I got to believe you're a Vols fan, or at least in the SEC. So it must be bugging you that, Tennessee's not in. I'm a big Notre Dame fan. So who you got, Notre Dame or Ohio State?
I have to go with Ohio State. Notre Dame, they just cheat all the time. I got a lot of buddies of mine that are in Congress, played for Notre Dame, and I know Lou Holtz, and and I know the whole program. But they've got a great history and a great story. But I just don't get too wrapped up in the sports anymore. Because I hope I can get a chance to watch it. I hope I'm not freezing my butt off somewhere at some ball. Actually, I'd rather do something important like watch the football game than get somebody's fruity drink spilled on my clean dark suit. So anyway,
everybody was saying that's why they moved it indoors, because J.D. Vance wanted to have a television screen so he could watch the game and watch his Ohio State. Well, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day. I know you got a busy week. Are you going up to the inauguration, or are you already there right now?
Oh, no, I'll be up there shortly, if I can get through the snow.
Well, drive safe, fly safe, have safe travels, be safe for the entire inauguration thing, and hopefully we come out on the other side come Monday night and be in a great position. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Tim.
It's a great pleasure. Ask your folks to please pray for our country.
And God bless you.
God bless you, brother. Thank you.
All right, so he asked us, and so let's pray for this country. I mean, we're going to have tomorrow, when we go live, we're going to have John Amanchaku as one of our guests early. We've got Zach Apotheker. I've got Kevin from Lear Capital, and we're going to just go from 11 o'clock, excuse me, from 11 o'clock on, however long that rally lasts. We're going to be here probably for 6 or 7 hours, and we're just going to keep going, maybe longer. I don't know how long it's going to last. We're going to play the music. Sorry, if it happens, it happens. But I'll explain more tomorrow what the safeguard is and how you guys can make sure you can still stay with us. But in any event, I thank Tim Burchett for showing up and giving us some more insight as to what's going on in Washington. Following up with the Nancy Mace interview, we've got Buddy Carter next week. Ashley is doing. Thank you, Ashley. She is doing a fantastic job in getting these guests. And people are actually picking up the phone and talking to her. So we're going to have a lot more of this. Like I said, Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen Reports, he's next week. They're just coming. And again, I'm bringing you guys this information, these kind of interviews, so you get a chance to actually hear what some of the people you wouldn't normally hear from. They go on, Fox or whatever, and they get 2 minutes. Seldom do you see somebody able to talk to these people for 25 or 30 minutes and really, dig in deep as to what's actually going on. I mean, he shocked me when, he was talking about the people who are making money off of insider trading, and it's both parties. So there's a whole lot of swamps, cesspool draining that needs to happen in Washington. Posh said Ashley is great. I can second that. I can definitely second that. Cheryl, thank you as well. And Heidi Ho, continue to pray for America. Yes. If you're a praying person, these next 48 hours are critical. Trump just took off. I was looking at it on a different screen. He just took off in a Air Force plane. I guess, I don't know what the moniker would be. Not Air Force One. The Air Force One is when the president's flying. Air Force Two is when Kamala is flying. But this was one of the presidential type planes. It wasn't a big jumbo jet, but he didn't fly his own plane. So that means, just so you know, he's under military escort. See, now that he's on Air Force 3, whatever the moniker is of that plane that just took off from Palm Beach. I mean, when I say took off, it literally, I'm looking at the replay here, it literally took off while we were talking. So he'll probably be landing in Washington, I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock. And based on the fact that he's on that jet, means that there's military escort. So they didn't want him flying his own plane. I don't know if that's customary to have the president-elect flown up with a military escort, or is that something they're doing for security? Don't know. But he just left Palm Beach on his way up to D.C. In a government plane. So Vance got the Trump airplane. Yeah, whatever. Air Force 47. Yeah, I guess we can call it that. So, special mission flight. Is that what it's called? Military guys, special mission flight. But in any event, it just went up. So in 2 hours or so, we'll see he's landing. It's a huge plane. You watched it. Yeah, it's amazing. It wasn't the jumbo jet. It wasn't Air Force One, but it was one of those big planes. And yep, there's fighters surrounding it. Tomorrow's Sunday. I'll miss church because I got to get ready for this, but I'll be praying. This nation is in a position where there's a lot of people out there right now who want to see things go bad, and some of them are in our government. All right, so if you'd like to join us over on our private group on X, go to fanfareshop.org/group and join 13,000 fellow patriots. It keeps growing. I'm loving it. And tomorrow, throughout the day, we're going to be giving out hoodies. So go to fanfareshop.org to enter to win a hoodie tomorrow. fanfareshop.org. So like I said, we're going to be going live at about 11 o'clock in the morning. Somebody called it a SAM, Special Air Mission. So I got some military guys here who are defining it. So it's a long day tomorrow. We're going to be all over it. Got some special guests coming in. Let me go ahead and acknowledge the Super Chats. Neo says, Barry, thank you for awesome work you do. I trust Trump, MAGA all the way. Absolutely. Praying. Definitely pray. Pray. Mike Turner is my representative. He is definitely not a part of the deep state. Do more research, please. Well, if you don't think he's part of the deep state, then you should probably be telling Trump to do more research. You see, Trump told Mike Johnson to fire him. So if Trump made that call, I don't know, I'm going to trust Trump. Just saying. So I guess your beef is with Trump, not me. No more research to be done. As far as I know, Trump fired him or had Mike Johnson fire him. Good for me. I think the mega Trump tent should be just like Christian views in the sense that you can forgive but not forget, and that's how you keep yourself safe. God bless. I could definitely ascribe to that. Mr. Mike, I'm a registered Republican. I wish that we could register as MAGA. Maybe Trump will bring that into effect. That would be cool. Dakin Sinclair, thank you very much. I would love that. We could just register as MAGA. Dakin Sinclair again, thank you very, very much. Ronald Zimmerman, Barry, you're the best. Am I glad I found your show months ago? MAGA starts Monday. Thank you very much. What's up, Tommy? These insidious people led by who? That is my question. Who's at the top giving orders or enforcing orders from the NWO and prophecies? Yes, would love to know the answer to that question. Love to know. Hopefully we can find out. Brian Reeves, what do you think will happen when all the truth comes out in the next year? Thank you, Barry and Mods and family, for everything. I think it's going to be the only word I can use. It's going to be a reckoning. That's what I believe is about to happen. A reckoning. That's the best way to describe it. People are going to be crushed. I sure wish Trump's inauguration was going to be held at Mar-a-Lago. Me too. I'm so nervous. Don't trust Dems at all. Nope, not at all. Mr. Mike, it's almost like the Democrats have a motto as, if I can't have America, no one can, so they try and destroy it or sell it out to China. Thank God for Trump loyalists. Robin and I were talking about that today. You know, this whole thing with the debt ceiling. The question is like, who's buying this so-called debt? China. Where's China getting their money? Printing it? Don't get me started. Next guy I have on here, buddy, I'm going to have to ask him. Seriously. What would happen if we just said, you know what? There is no more debt. We're done. I'm not paying it. Go away. Well, the full faith and credit of the American government would then, be damaged. So, I'm speaking off the cuff here. I don't know, but if we get petroleum going and oil is flowing and we're making money and we're selling gas and we're selling oil to all these different places, you think these other countries are going to say no? I could be wrong. They could say, hey, you guys are deadbeats, but we'll see. Tommy, where was I? Can we reverse all the executives' orders by Biden if forensic proves them stamped or forged by someone else? It's going to go to court. I think we're approaching that time frame where some people are going to question some of these orders. Thank you, Johnny. Stephen Anderson. I'm seeing some new names. Time to take the rats out of the system. Barry, keep up your great work to spread the truth. MAGA forever. God will provide lots of evil people out there. Lots. The Lion Fire. Thank you. Barry, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you. Thank you for the work you do. Thank you. I'm seeing some new names. You guys seeing these new names from people? Love it. Love it. Growing that big tent. Raven Kirkendall, is it too late for a Trump coin? I don't know what the price of it is as of we speak right now. I'll have to check. I'll get the information for you in the morning, but I would dig into it, especially if it's something you can afford. Why not take a flyer on it? Johnny Krigner, thank you very much. I would. And again, don't brag about what you make, but jump in. George Rivera, if all you did was take Biden's incapacity from when the DOJ declared him too incompetent for a trial or challenge for all his activity from Hunter's pardon, they're gonna. I think they've got their evidence to begin. Nancy Jennings, when I see all these DEI elected people, I think my heart DEI stands for didn't earn it, and I think many people agree with me. I'll agree with you, that's for sure. Let me go down here to Connie Cole. Praying, yes. I think a lot of people in America are praying right now. Something's going to happen. Don't know what. Tommy Ratcliffe, again, I bought Trump the first week, not much, but wow. Yeah, there you go. Just get in. Just get in. And then Lynn Too Fat. Nice intro, Barry Trump, the king of New York. Yeah. Oh, yeah. How'd you guys like that intro with Christopher Walken doing that narration? I love that movie. Helen Tower, thank you, praying. Absolutely. Barry Canova, a big wake-up call for this old dude. Barry, thanks. We all need wake-up calls, man. Larry, 1754, how many times in his campaign speeches did he say he would destroy the deep state? He's on his way to doing just that. Bingo, bingo, bingo. That's exactly what he said. Bill and Barb, thank you. And let's see here. Barry, my 92-year-old dad watched your videos running 24 hours a day. I'm grateful you inspire him. Somebody had said that to me. Just go ahead and loop. Keep a loop going as well. But then again, I wouldn't be able to interrupt it and do what we do here. All right, so 11 o'clock tomorrow, everybody. We're going to get going. I'll post it all over the place so everybody can click in. And we'll be going all day. So if you leave, got to go do something, come on back, and we'll still be going. Like I said, Zach Apotheker, John Amanchaku, Kevin from Lear. Ashley's got what's the guy's name? I don't want to just say the guy. We have somebody from California who's in all these fires. Hold on, let me look because I don't just want to say the guy. Guy needs more respect than being the guy. All right, so his name is Michael Gates. He's the attorney for Huntington Beach, California, who's going to talk to us about what's really going on out there. So we got some good people coming in. Obviously, going to cover the entirety of the rally, party, whatever you want to call it, and we'd love to have you. Thank you very much. Have a safe evening. Talk to you tomorrow, bright and early.
Thank you.